to start our regular Board of Education meeting Monday, November 1st, 2021, 7 p.m. First up, Pledge of Allegiance. That will be Trustee Beaver.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. Next up, roll call, please.
Here. Rebecca Chambliss. Here. Mark Holcomb.
Here.
Cindy Holder.
Here.
Deborah Ott.
Here.
Beth Scott is absent with notice. Gloria Thompson.
Here.
We have quorum.
Next up, public fundamentals. Public input is fundamental to the operation of Madison District Public Schools. Our public has the opportunity to speak at every Board of Education meeting. A period of time known as public comment is set aside at each meeting to give parents and other citizens a chance to speak directly to the board about school-related topics. Anyone wishing to speak to the board must fill out a request form and give it to the board secretary before the meeting begins. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. School employees will not use this form to discuss job-related topics. The Board of Education accepts comments made during public comment from anyone who follows these guidelines. Public comment is one of the many information sources that the board uses before making decisions in the best interest of the children who attend Madison District Public Schools. The board also works with the district staff to address citizens' questions and concerns. To begin, any requests?
Mr. Smith?
That will be this one.
Good evening. Tomorrow, the community will vote on a bond that will have real consequences for the students in the district. The infrastructure needs for roofs, plumbing, and electrical are clear and obvious. Since there's no tax increase, I hope this will be a reasonably easy choice. I respectfully urge voters to focus on the kids' needs and pass the bond for needed maintenance and improvements on the buildings in the Madison School District. That's all I have. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, that closes this part of the agenda. Next up, Superintendent Report, Mr. O'Toole.
Madam President, I'm going to yield some time to Vice President Holcomb for a brief discussion.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was emailed from the Operators Engineers 324. They're having an open house November 18th in Howell. It's from 8 till noon. They're inviting superintendents, administrators, principals, counselors, mental work, apprenticeship success coordinators, athletic directors, and any other educators. And I would like to see what the board thinks about it, if they'd be willing to get together and have our counselors and our principals and the board, whoever on board wants to go, just have a discussion about it.
Do we want to,
Is
does
there, you
anybody have any questions or input?
guys want me to look at it? I know they have their main field day in May, where people can go and work the machinery. Yeah. And like I said, this is open house for any educators and any board members that's interested in going. Is there anybody interested in going?
I would like to attend, Vice President.
I would like to attend. I just gotta double check my schedule. I don't want to promise, but 99.9, yes.
Is there a certain time or date that we need to RSVP by?
I don't know, I don't see any time and date. That's something that,
I could look into if you could just let me know by the end of this week, and then I can RSVP for all of us, whoever's interested in going.
And then the only other thing is we could put this out so that people that aren't here in attendance can see these flyers too, maybe on our social media.
Yeah, we shared this with the principals already and the middle school and high school counselors. But I'll just send a follow-up class. Right now, it's not open to the parents or the students, correct?
right, this is just for the educators and the board members. And, I mean, these kids can, if they get into an apprenticeship program, they can get out of high school, instead of going to college, they can go in and get a job started at $20 an hour, and they can get full benefits, pension programs. They can't go wrong without going in debt. They just can't go wrong doing it.
I'll have to check my schedule too. I'd like to go.
Okay.
Yeah, I had already committed to going, especially with that equipment that we have sitting in this building, and with the unfortunate part of the Oakland County OTEC Center closing down their program.
This doesn't have nothing to do with machining. This is construction.
I understand, I'm just saying, it's all kind of skilled trades, but we need to
But also,
focus on this.
also OTEC does work with operators and engineers 23, 24, where if they go 10th and 11th grade, they earn credits for their apprenticeship
For co-op, right?
or co-op.
Yeah.
It's a win-win thing for
So,
the students.
any of our administrators that would like to go, is it possible to make sure that they have the availability? I don't know.
Secondary, I think secondary level, we just can't release all the administrators. But, yeah. Plus they have refreshments. You can't go wrong.
Whoever would like to go, that we can accommodate.
Ms. Holder, I'm sorry, may I ask for 30
No,
seconds?
it's President Holder. not
President
Mrs.
Holder, I'm sorry, may I ask for 30 seconds, please? My daughter just left in tears grabbing her throat. May I please have 30 seconds?
Absolutely.
Oh, you got one?
I got it. Thank you.
Okay. I don't think this is in the package. Oh, it is.
I'm going to give trustee Chambliss a couple of minutes.
have more than 4 trustees, do we have to see who is not willing to go?
No, you can go to events like this, but you just can't talk about board business. Just like we can all go out to. Right, we can all go out to dinner, but we can't talk about board business.
Is that right? Okay.
Trustee Chambers, she's good. Okay. If that's the end of that discussion, we'll go back to Mr. Abdullah.
Yes, I was commenting to that they could put you to work construction right now. I mean, you see all the money that they're trying to put into the roads and all that. And just having that experience where they train you for the job and then they put you to work. It's just a different career path track for someone who doesn't want to go to college or wants to do something more construction labor-based. And I think it probably pays more than $20 now, Vice President Ocampo.
Yeah, that was when I first, 2 years ago,
Yeah.
I first started talking about it. That's what they were telling me back then.
Yeah,
And then you add your pension onto it,
yeah.
and your vacations, and your, it's crazy.
Okay, and if you would like to continue with the superintendent report, please.
Okay, I just want to remind families that we don't have school tomorrow. It is a voting day. We have professional development. So we do want to encourage families to go out and vote. We also have, I do want to give a shout out to Mr. Patu in the band for what they were doing with the trunk or treat and the performances that he's been doing. I mean, for a small band, they are trying their hearts out. So I just want to give him praise for that. I also got a nice email from a parent for the ECC staff. Now, they did ask me not to include names, but how they made their child feel so supportive during a time where they lost a pet. And just wanted us to know that they were very much appreciative of the staff at the Early Childhood Center. The trunk or treat was phenomenal at ECC. I think they had the better day of the two with the sun being out, but I know Ms. Provenzola and Ms. Hemingway took theirs indoors, and that was nice. Want to remind parents that report cards will be going out with their children into secondary level. And so be on the lookout for that. You could always just print it out through MyStar, through your parent portal if you wanted to. And I do want to just close the gap with Oakland County Health Department. With contact tracing, there's a time lapse between the time that we notify Oakland County Health Department that there is close contact, because when we read the law, it was against the law for us to quarantine the students. That order has to come from Oakland County Health Department. And so what we were doing previously is we were quarantining the kids. We can't do that. So to close the gap, we want to just remind parents that if you get a text message from Oakland County Health Department, we're asking you to contact your administrator to close the loop, so we know that you've been contacted. That way, we're not letting 2 or 3 days go by before we catch wind of it, and it could lead to a further exposure. So we'll send out an email blast on that. I'm just kind of addressing it briefly here, but we'll send out an email blast. And we do want parents to be aware that we're going to have a suicide prevention professional development for the staff to address social emotional needs of our students. We did do a survey earlier, well, towards the end of last school year, and we're trying to address that. We want to educate the staff. So it's grades 6 through 12 right now, and there's a new law that every secondary ID now has a suicide hotline. So if you ask a student that is in grade 6 through 12 to show them the back of their ID, you'll see a phone number there where they could contact suicide prevention. So that is on the rise, and we just want parents to be aware and have discussions with their children. If they rather have that discussion first, we ask that you contact the administrator. That way they're not part of the assemblies. Wilkinson is going to have one, I believe, on November 8th for the parents to inform them. Is that correct, Mr. Whitman? November 8th, we're going to have a parent workshop just to make the parents aware of it. And I believe that concludes my superintendent's report, President Holder.
We will then move on to approval of the minutes from October 4th, 2021, regular Board of Education meeting, and October 20th, 2021, special Board of Education meeting. You need a maker and support, please.
Make that one.
Trustee Thompson. Do we have support?
I'll support.
Trustee Yap. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Gloria Thompson,
Yes.
Deborah Ott,
Yes.
Cindy Holder,
Yes.
Mark Holcomb,
Yes.
Rebecca Chambliss, yes, Crystal Beaver.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next up is the approval of the removal and replacement of the heat exchanger. We have a quote of $12,087.11. Payment due upon completion of work. Do we have a maker and support, please?
I'll make it.
Trustee Holcomb,
I'll support.
trustee Thompson. Can't seem to write in at this time, excuse me. Is there anything that we needed added to this as part of the discussion? Mr. Abdullah, since Mr. Thiel isn't here to ask.
No, we can't wait. We asked if it could wait to see what the outcome of the bond is, but you need this to bring heat to certain parts of the building. So this is something that can wait.
Okay, and hopefully the bond will pass tomorrow. If it does, this was a part of
Yes.
what was in it, so that won't cause any, or we'll be able to figure it out with the state. Yes?
Yeah, we would get all brand new HVAC.
Got it, okay. Good enough, just so everybody's aware. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Rebecca Chambliss, yes, Mark Holcomb,
Yes.
Cindy Holder,
Yes.
Deborah Ott,
Yes.
Gloria Thompson,
Yes.
Crystal Beaver.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And next, approval of the technology purchases, ECF. This is $48,900. Dr. Hill or Dr. Abdullah, do you want to add anything?
I'm not a doctor, but
Oh, God,
I
I'm
play
sorry.
one on TV.
You go right ahead. Mr. Abdullah, please.
So we were awarded, we applied for that grant, we were awarded. We're going to replace all the teacher stations with brand new high-end laptops with docking stations. that, so when a teacher leaves at the end of the day, they can take that with them. And then we are also getting more Chromebooks to replace some of the computer labs that have old in computing. So we will be up to date. They're going to reopen that. There's still more funds available to apply for, and basically they're awarding anyone that's applying. So my next recommendation will be to put all new 75-inch smart boards at the high school and replace all the MES old projector ones with the smart boards. But when that grant comes up, I'll apply for it, and if we get awarded, that's where we intend to use that money.
And I was remiss to say this is ESSER 2 funds.
No, this is totally different. This is E-rate grant.
But for this one.
Yes.
Well, it says it's ESSER 2.
Oh, the remaining, where does it say this?
You know what?
It's split between E-rate and ESSER 2.
Yeah.
$48,000 is coming out of ESSER 2, and the rest
The remaining.
is coming out of E-rate funding.
Got it, thank you. So Anita Maker and support, please. Yeah. Did we make those?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Beaver. Support. No support. Trustee Al. And back to discussion. Anybody else?
I have one question, President Holden.
Trustee Chambliss, go ahead.
Angel, Mr. Abdullah, how many Chromebooks have you purchased over the past year and a half, 2 years approximately?
The last ones that we recommended to you, you guys voted on, and then we found out that was not ordered. So those would have to be ordered. And I don't know off the top but we've done 3 different orders. Remember the first one that took like 8 months to get? So that one only arrived in 2020. I could get you a hard number of how many times, but every time we've ordered, we've presented to the board, so I just have to go back and look at the minutes.
Yeah, I just would like to know how many we've ordered. I know that when we voted on it in the past, we've asked how many, because it does seem like it keeps coming, and I get if we vote and it doesn't end up getting ordered, then it would be a duplicate vote, and that makes sense, but I'm just wondering how many more do we need? Will this meet the needs going forward, obviously, until technology is upgrading again? But would this be enough that this would be the final batch?
Well, yeah, the next thing on our plate is to replace the smart boards. If you look at the high school, they have a mixture of old and new, and then elementary has the old projector ones. So we want to go with 75-inch, and those last 10 years. So after we do that, the only other thing would probably be to do a server refresh in 2 years, because we just got those servers a year and a half ago. So they last about 5 to 7 years. But I'll get you a total number. I'll ask Dr. Hill to get total number. But an example, Ms. Provozola asked me if she could discard the end units, not discard them, but replace them, because those end units are very slow. So that computer lab is 30. Wilkinson's computer lab is the old computer sticks that we kind of put together. So we're just finding an opportunity to take advantage to do a product refresh across the whole district. We should be good for 5 to 7 years on Chromebooks.
Okay, yeah, I would really appreciate just a number of how many we've purchased over the past 2 years.
Okay.
And if there's going to be a need for any more, then, I mean, obviously something might pop up, but that could be foreseen maybe.
Another thing that we're exploring is new marquees, technology marquees at the high school and here, because they're using the old letterhead. So we'll try to use every dollar that we can get for E-rate for that.
Any other questions?
Yes, ma'am, I just had one question. It kind of piggybacked off of what Ms. Chambliss said. I didn't know if this will give us a 1-to-1 ratio on Chromebooks with our students, this last batch.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
It's okay. I was just wondering if this last batch will give our students a 1-to-1 ratio with Chromebooks.
We'll have more than 1-to-1 ratio, because we're going to touch the computer labs. So Wilkinson's 101, high school is kind of a makeshift. Elementary is 101 if you combine iPads and Chromebooks, but if we can do both Chromebooks and iPads, then we'll do that. Because the iPads are, nearing 5 years now in age.
Okay.
Anyone else? I have just one question, and I realize that technology becomes obsolete almost as soon as you purchase it. But do we keep tabs on how these are distributed, who they're distributed to? Do we collect them back if the student leaves the district?
Yeah, Oakland,
If they owe money at the end of the year, how are we looking at those things
so
now?
Oakland Schools controls our IT department controls every Chromebook. They could shut it down, they could re-image it, they could trace it. And then we do charge if there's I just don't know off the top of my head how much, like for a cracked screen, but we do charge families if there's a cracked screen, a certain amount. And then principals will work with families that don't have the resources to, pay $100 for the screen or $25 for a broken
Years
key.
ago, it was $200 on a computer.
But
Yeah.
with
That's
technology,
probably gone up.
yeah.
Okay,
I'm
so
sorry.
we're monitoring that. That was my question, and especially with, when we have a big exodus of students, where did that put us as far as getting that equipment back? Thank you. Did someone else have a question?
Yes, ma'am. Mr.
Trustee
Dillahunt,
Chambers, go ahead.
do you know how many laptops or iPads are still kind of MIA post-COVID? And I could be wrong, but my understanding is there's still quite a few Chromebooks missing.
I don't have numbers, but there's some iPads that are missing. Some people didn't return them, they moved. And it was expected because you can't withhold their transcripts. You could send them notices, you can't withhold their report cards. Well, you could withhold their report card, but not their records request of someone. So you're kind of at their mercy. But I could get you a number of those once I talk to the principals.
Yes, please, thank you.
Anything else? Hearing nothing, roll call vote, please.
Mark Holcomb,
Yes.
Cindy Holder,
Yes.
Deborah Ott,
Yes.
Gloria Thompson,
Yes.
Crystal Beaver,
Yes.
Rebecca Shambliss. Yes, motion passes.
Thank you. Next up, a new job title. Recommended that the Board of Education approve the Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum, Instruction, Human Resources, and Operations position, and an Assistant Superintendent Administrative Assistant. We need maker and support, and we'll have discussion, please.
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Ott,
I'll second it.
Trustee Holcomb. And any discussion? Mr. Abdullahat, did you want to explain?
This is based on the direction that I got from the board last board meeting where you asked me to explore the job title combining. So this is what we're presenting to you. The reason we combined human resource is I've only had 4 applicants, and out of the 4 applicants for HR, one had HR experience, but it came from the corporate world, and HR is totally different from public education and corporate world. So we're going to explore this option to see if we have more candidates apply, and I could give you an update on that in a week or so, depending on what we do tonight.
Okay, any other discussion or questions?
President.
Trustee Thompson.
Angel, do we know what this job is gonna cost us?
Between 110 and 120 for the assistant soup. Mr. Thiel was making about 97,000. So to pile on curriculum in there, and if we figured an administrative assistant makes about 45,000 combined For the 2 people, it'd be about 160. Now, that would replace 2 full positions, which will be about a $40,000 savings if you could find the right candidate. Because HR is about 100,000, and then you have curriculum and instructions about 100,000, so that's 200,000. So this way, if we do find the right candidate, we'd save about $40,000 a year. And we could put a provision in there that we could explore it after 2025 when all the ESSER funds go away, so it doesn't hit your general fund.
President Holder, I have questions.
Trustee Chambers, go ahead.
Mr. Abdullah, so this will be paid with ESSER, and in 2 years, we're going to potentially tell somebody that they're we have to lay them off, or we don't need the position potentially. So we're going to hire somebody in, but let them know that in 2 years they might not have a job.
In 2025, that gives us 3.5 years, and typically we present 1-year contracts to you. So a 3-year, potentially, yeah, we would do that. This position cannot come out of your general fund because we're too small to afford 2 high-end positions like that. So we're lucky with ESSER funds, and we could set aside some because it's addressing curriculum and the learning gaps. So.
Okay, and like it says, the assistant superintendent will make district-level decisions and work in collaboration with all staff to align rigorous curriculum that is culturally responsive. Isn't that what the DEI coordinator is going to do?
But we're not aligned. The DEI is dealing with diversity, equity, and inclusion and aligning that. Now, the curriculum director will align all curriculum from kindergarten to 12th grade. Because right now, if you look at elementary, they're doing something, middle school's doing something, but there's not one person that's aligning it all to make sure that the handoff from 8th grade to 9th grade, there's no standards that are being missed. And so DEI is dealing with the diversity, equity, inclusion, and classism that creates a huge gap between that. And this is strictly curriculum, and I wanted to develop like a good plan for the district, a curriculum plan, where we could address growth, so we could have some steady data growth, and the DEI is not really focused on that part of it.
Okay, so I just have 2 concerns. Number 1, many of these things are superintendent jobs, and it seems like between Ms. Kennedy and then an assistant superintendent, we're kind of nicely wording ways to pull tasks out that I would expect a superintendent to do. And with our district being the size we are, and school numbers dropping, and they are, I mean, we're trying to go stable, we're trying to grow, but we haven't yet. We're very top heavy. We have quite a few not well enough paid people, but highly paid people at the very top for a district that's right at 1,000. So when ESSER, we might have that money right now because of that, but it seems like we're building a pattern that we can't sustain and may not necessarily need them to do all these things and could focus on things that we do need.
I just went by what you asked as a board to do to bring you a posting of assistant superintendent. So typically a superintendent doesn't do the curriculum alignment, so I was trying to add some stuff that curriculum directors did. So you'll see curriculum director duties in there, HR duties in there, and operational duties in there.
I'm just referring to like your superintendent goals that say you'll be doing curriculum. So that's why I'm saying superintendent tasks, is because some of these are things that are on your goals, is things that you listed that you do when you gave us your recommended goals.
Any other questions or comments? And none of this, I would just like to say, I know that curriculum is important to everybody, parents, kids, us. All our building administrators, they're already working very, very, very hard curriculum is a specialty. We used to have a full-time just curriculum director. And I know that that was a while ago, but I did not ever hear that they weren't busy doing something. It also, I'm hoping and intend to help at the school levels and help the administrators. So I think that that's necessary. Somehow or another, we have to have somebody that is at least a portion of their job. I know in Mr. Abdullah had can share, I did ask, I'm kind of old school, what Oakland schools couldn't give us. With Mr. Thiel being gone, HR is a full-time job. We need to stay on things. So if you could just explain to me what you had said to me this afternoon about Oakland schools.
So Oakland schools could give you an assistant superintendent, but it'd be $130,000 to $140,000 when I ask. So all they're going to do is post it and hire them. So if we're going to do that, I told President Holder, I said, if they're going to just do that, might as well have us do it for cheaper. And it might be enticing for someone who is aspiring to step up in the educational ladder. It might be something that they're willing to take on.
I don't know that that special right person is out there, but I'm willing to see. I think everybody needs the support in our staff, and especially with these very specific, important parts of education. So I would like to at least see if there's somebody out there that can help us, and especially now that Mr. Thiel has left, we have another big hole.
President Holder?
That's my thought. Trustee Chiamlis, go ahead.
If Oakland Schools gave us an assistant superintendent for $130,000-ish, would that person be experienced? Would they be like well-versed so they kind of hit the floor running?
I don't know, they would post it and see who the applicants are. I mean, that's what they would do when I explored that option before. That's what they were going to do. They'll say, we'll post it if that's what you're looking for. But what's the difference on them interviewing and us interviewing? I could ask the same questions they're asking. I know what we're looking for. And this is not necessarily, this wasn't my recommendation to present to you. This is what you, as a board, asked me to present. And so this is what I'm presenting to you. And it doesn't hurt to apply, see how many people. If you have no one, I'll report it back. If you have 50 candidates, I'll say, hey, we have 50 applicants, looking good, high caliber people, and we can go from there.
No, that makes sense. I'm just wondering if Oakland Schools maybe has, like, people that have had experience, maybe they've done interim superintendent, but they're not a full superintendent.
All like retirees.
Like maybe they have resources that, us putting an ad out might not tap. And so for an extra possible $10,000, but to get someone who kind of comes in knowing what an assistant superintendent does and all the tasks required and how to do them could be beneficial versus trying to train someone. We have somebody who could be like, I know what I'm doing, and hit the floor running, so.
Can I just say, the only problem with that is you're getting an assistant superintendent, period. We don't have that luxury. We have many seats or job titles that need to be filled. They're going to have one for, so I don't know that that helps us. I understand the thought process. But I don't think right now we can afford to just hire a simple assistant superintendent. We need somebody that's going to be able to fill multiple holes, is my thought.
No, that makes sense. It's just, I'm not going to name names, but there are some people in the district who are really great people, but they're having a lot piled on them. So I would just hate to see us hire somebody in go through the training, and then when everything's kind of laid in their lap that they're expected to do, it's way too much, and we either lose them entirely, we burn someone out, you know what I mean? Like, I know that what we need is kind of the unicorn of assistant superintendents, but we're kind of in a place where we're trying to do so many amazing things at once. I just don't want to see somebody have to bear the brunt of so much that we lose them. So maybe, I don't know, maybe the tasks they do could be discussed more.
Well, right now, what's on the floor is at least looking into seeing what the interest might be on this job. So that's what we're going to vote on right now. If there is no interest, or if there's not interest that can help us, then we're going to be bringing this back sooner rather than later. So is there any other questions or discussions before I ask for roll call? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Deborah Ott,
Yes.
Gloria Thompson,
Yes.
Crystal Beaver,
No.
Rebecca Shambliss, no. Mark Holcomb,
Yes.
Cindy Holder,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay, next up, approval of Director of Communications and Relations. It's recommended the Board of Education approve the Director of Communications and Relations position. The Director of Communications and Relations will be responsible for all district-level publications, newsletters, promotional and informative information necessary to support the school district, expand and increase the district's brand recognition, be responsible for social media communications, and be the district webmaster. We need a maker and support, please.
President, Lee.
Trustee Holcomb's the maker. I'll support. Trustee Yap is support. Open the floor for discussion. Is this not, I guess, that we talked about this last meeting, did we not? Mr. Field did not want to do this. Mr. Abdullah?
What do you mean?
He couldn't, this was a big job for him, whereas this
Oh,
job is...
yeah, he was just doing the basic posting, and he was getting that $500 a month stipend, but it was too much. We do need to rebrand our district website. It's old, if you notice, the pictures are old. The system, it's old school, so we want to, refresh the website. We actually want someone that could help us increase our brand and extend our brand out. So you need someone with good skills. I'm not saying he does not have, but we actually need someone that went to college for that.
Any other questions or concerns? Trustee Thompson, go ahead.
And again, what is the pay on this?
There, it's on second page for it.
I thought we had it in there. So.
Yeah, 75 to 85,000. 75 to 85. On page 21, Lori.
I'm sorry, I thought I had it.
No, it's in
Just-
21.
That's in the full pay.
Thank you. I'm in the full pay.
Any other questions or concerns?
President Holder?
Trustee Chambers.
I just want to say that again, I think we're adding positions, we're adding money to the administration building, the administration, and we're losing students. We're at 1,000 students, and we're adding position after position that potentially, in a very short time, we can't afford. And I feel like that's playing with someone. For a grown adult to come into a job, yes, we give one-year contracts, but I think most people believe if they do a good job and they are successful, that contract will be renewed regardless if it's of 1 year. They don't expect it to be with an expiration date. So I think, again, we're adding positions. We don't have a student base to cover it. I understand the point behind it and why we might need this, but I believe there has to be another way versus 75,000 plus. We have so much other things we could do with money.
Jamie left, so,
Okay, trustee,
yeah, I was just gonna say, Mr. Theo left, so we have to fill his position as to the, public relations and stuff. Director of Communications. We had a webmaster for the longest time.
Yeah.
We paid them thousands of dollars a month. Tons. Yeah.
Just to revamp, just to have a website redesigned, if you just go out and outsource that alone, that's $30,000 to $40,000. Just that alone. Just if you want to do a website refresh. Now, I'm sure you would agree that our website is old. The pictures are old. The tabs are old when comparing to other up-to-date and tech-savvy districts. So just that alone, that's half a year's salary. Not including that we could actually do publications that right now we are sourcing out to have designed, right? And so if we have someone in-house, we could design those flyers that we are paying people to do. That job will pay for itself. Just my recommendation.
I just have one question.
trustee Beaver, go ahead.
Just to clarify, Mr. Thiel is getting paid $500 a month to do this, correct?
He was just basically, he created one tab because we were struggling to even create a bond tab, so we had to get assistance just to create that. So he was basically just updating the board package between, it takes a lot to understand coding and web design, and that's not his field. But we needed someone, Sarah Moeller, before that. She was a lot more tech savvy. She was designing the website, but when she left, we needed a stopgap. So Jamie Field took that on. But that was just a patch. It was not to actually do what we needed to do. It was his $500 a month with basically making sure that we're posting our stuff on the right dates and the right time and the calendars. Like right now, if you look at our staff directory, it's not current. And I've asked them to, and we just didn't know how to do it. We both fiddled with it. But we needed someone more tech savvy to do the district-wide staff directory so they could push that out to the different buildings so they could pull down. But we can't do that right now, so we have to manually go in and do each one. Those are simple tasks that for someone who goes into that field, they could do that in a heartbeat. For us, it might take us 3 or 4 days just to get a webinar to understand how to do it, and then spend a half a day trying to do it.
I just have a question.
Trustee Chambliss, go ahead.
So Mr. Thiel, who is incredible, let me just preface this with that. He's incredible. Why did it take him leaving before a concern about the quality, not the quality, because he does a great quality job. I'm going to say quality, but Mr. Thiel, you do an amazing job. This is not about you. Why does it take him leaving before we're hearing this was not a good enough job being done, our website was suffering, we needed to do much more, we could not keep up with the demands of what needed to happen, why was this not proactively handled? Months ago, where you said, Mr. Thiel, we need to replace you on this position because we can have someone step in to lighten your load and who's a little more tech savvy.
Because operational discussions between me and Mr. Thiel stayed between me and Mr. Thiel. So he and I had discussions regarding this way before, but it takes time for us to research, to see what we can afford, for us to see if we can draw the ESSER money, for me to have discussions with. It's not as simple as just present you something and call it a day. So just because this is Actually, this is the second month you're hearing of this, but we probably spent 3 months trying to explore it. And you get the email, you get the same emails with the complaints on some of the things that we're not in compliance of. You get the same notices from people.
Yeah, but we're going on a year with that. We
So
don't get those
should
emails since
should
January.
we just not deal with it at all now because we didn't deal with it right away?
I'm just asking, why don't we proactively handle this sooner? Why does it take this event before we handle it instead of reacting later?
Can I just say, now we have no one doing it, so now it's definitely, whatever didn't make it come to the top, it's at the top now. The other thing that I guess I just want to add, it's been kind of a nitpicky spot for me for a long time, is we don't toot our own horn, we don't celebrate our employees enough. We, that our good news letters that used to come out a couple times a year, that showed people what their investment was, who, you know, what the kids were doing, what the parents were aligned with. And you, Trustee Chambliss, probably know better than the rest of us, trying to find a schedule sometimes is a challenge. If I want to attend an event, it's been frustrating more than one time to figure out where it is and what it's doing, and it's nobody's fault. It needs to be addressed, but we need to celebrate our wins, you know, we have great employees. We need to show them that we support them, that, you know, we have their backs. We're working towards, you know, celebrating their hard work as well as ours. So that's my 2 cents for what it's worth. Anybody else? Okay, hearing nothing, roll call vote, please.
Crystal Beaver,
No.
Rebecca Chambliss,
No.
Mark Holcomb,
Yes.
Cindy Holder,
Yes.
Deborah Ott,
Yes.
Gloria Thompson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Next is the first policy reading for our closed session. And tell me, we have a lady here tonight to help us with Mr. Urban. Do I just need to read this whole thing into the record as our first official reading?
Right, I guess I'm not, I mean, Van der Waal.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm not clear on why this closed session.
No, it's about closed session.
Oh, about closed session.
Yes.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I didn't want to do it wrong.
No.
So this is 0167.2 closed session. The board may, by means of a roll call vote, meet in a closed session, one closed to the public for the following purposes. A, to consider the dismissal, suspension, or disciplining of, or to hear complaints or charges brought against, or to consider a periodic personal evaluation of a public officer, staff member, or individual agent, if the named person requests a closed hearing. A majority vote is required. To consider the dismissal, suspension, or disciplining of a student only if the student or student's parents request a closed session. A majority vote is required. Also see bylaw 169, student disciplinary hearings. C, for strategy and negotiation sessions connected with the negotiation of a collectively bargained agreement. If either negotiating party requests a closed hearing, a majority vote is required. D, to consider the purchase of lease or real property up to the time an option to purchase or lease that real property is obtained. A 2/3 vote is required. To consult with its attorney regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with specific pending litigation, but only if an open meeting would have a detrimental financial effect on the litigating or settlement position of the public body. A 2/3 vote is required. To consider materials such as written opinions of counsel, which are exempt from discussion by state or federal statute. A 2/3 vote is required. To review the specific contents of an application for employment or appointment if the candidate requests that the application remain confidential. A 2/3 vote is required. However, all interviews for employment or appointment of the superintendent shall be held in an open meeting of the board. In keeping with the confidential nature of closed sessions, no member of the board shall disclose the content of discussions that take place during such sessions. The only exemptions will be discussions with the district's legal counsel or as directed by an order of a court with proper jurisdiction. Additionally, due to the need for confidentiality and the increased vulnerability of internet communication systems to hacking and other attacks, members of the board must be present to participate in closed sessions. An accommodation for disability-related assertions will be considered on a case-by-case basis. It is expected that board members shall not record nor communicate by any means, electronic or otherwise, with party or parties outside such meetings regarding the substance of such meetings, either during or after the course of such meetings. So I need a maker and support,
No,
please.
it's just the first read.
Oh,
That's it, you just move on to the next.
okay. No, I still have to vote on that. All right. Next up, personnel report. And it's recommended that the Board of Education accept the personnel report for Madison District Public Schools as presented. And I'm going to find it. Thank you. All righty. Thank you, Trustee Ott. New hires: Amanda Stauffer, Special Education Parapro, Madison Elementary. Kimberly Jefferson, Cafeteria Worker, Madison High School. Brianna Scott, Special Education Parapro, Madison Elementary. Resignation. Thank you. Brianna Scott is resigning from Special Education Parapro. Jamie Field, resignation, Director of Human Resources and Operations. And one reassignment, thank you. Tracy Thompson, head cook to afternoon custodian at the high school. I need a maker and support, please. Trustee Thompson.
I'll support.
Trustee Beaver? Yes. Thank you. Any discussion?
I just have a quick question.
Trustee Chambliss?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Mr. Abdullah, did we do I'm not asking for any details. Did we do the exit interviews for Ms. Scott and Mr. Thiel? And if so, without details of who said it, is there anything the Board of Education can do that would possibly help retain employees in like situations like these?
I'll send you an email with what one of them said regarding some suggestions that we could work on.
But the attorney said that we're not going to be necessarily privy to
Yeah,
that.
but I mean,
It wasn't for us, that's
Right.
not to use, it's for the administrators to use. Okay, any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Rebecca Shambliss? Yes. Mark Holcomb?
Yes.
Cindy Holder?
Yes.
Deborah Ott?
Yes.
Gloria Thompson?
Yes.
Crystal Beaver.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next up, check register approval. It is recommended that the board approve following expenditures for the period October 1st through October 31st. Accounts payable, $645,278.34. Payroll, $423,773.74. Wire transfers, $383,663.36, for a grand total $1,452,715.44. I need a maker and support, please. Trustee Thompson, is there support? Trustee Ott, any questions or discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mark Holcomb,
Yes.
Cindy Holder,
Yes.
Deborah Ott,
Yes.
Gloria Thompson,
Yes.
Crystal Beaver,
Yes.
Rebecca Chambliss.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next up is ESSER grants and updates. Dr. Hill.
Okay, good evening, Board of Education members and everyone. What you have in front of you is a summary of our major grants for the current year. And I just wanted to highlight some things for you. During the year, we thought we were going to get ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 funding and be able to, apply for it, but we actually was only able to apply for the funding as of August 31st. So the Michigan Department of Education just made it available for districts August 31st. We thought we would have it during the year, but we didn't. And ESSER 2 for us, the Madison district was allocated $1.2 million. If you look on the first page, you have a column. First column is your grant name, the grant period, what Madison is allocated to either apply for, and then a grant end date and some notes. So I'm just going to highlight ESSER 2. Madison District was allocated by the Michigan Department of Education to be able to apply for $1.2 million. And the Michigan Department of Ed, as I stated before, they made the application available in MIGS as of August 31st. So ESSER 3 for Madison District is $2.7 million, and we will be applying for that funding. And I just wanted you to, if you flip to the next page, you know, you're gonna look at a total of $7.6 thousand worth of grant funding for the current year. And then if you flip to the next page, this is our Sr2 Spending Plan. You know, you're gonna see the plan description of what we have asked the board if we can spend Sr2 dollars on and the cost. And we still have about $121,000 of the $1.2 million that was allocated to Madison District to be allocated, meaning we have to come up with how we're going to spend that additional $121,407. Now, if you flip to the next page, our ESSER 3 spending plan, it's still being finalized. So far, we have the two positions that you heard discussed here tonight. You know, and this cost, it includes benefits at 0.46%. So we still have $2.4 million that we still need to finalize our plans for, and we will do that because we need to apply for this funding by December, by or before December, and we'll have it done. And I just wanted to, if you go back to the ESSER spending plan, you know, like you all heard us talk about the $500 Chromebooks, the $100 laptops, you'll see that it's, you know, a cost split between E-rate funding and ESSER 2. ESSER 2, the portion being $48,900 that we discussed before. That's what we were trying to say. And I just wanted to highlight that. And, you know, let me know if you have any questions. And I think your list is pretty thorough. All right. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Any questions? You're good. I just wanted to ask in case you walked away and then had to go outside back. No, we can move right on.
Okay.
Next up, committee reports, GRC.
I don't have anything to report tonight.
Okay. Next up, diversity, equity, and inclusion committee report.
I also don't have anything to report. It's been actually pretty even keel. We're still discussing the same things.
Great. Parks and Rec committee.
That would be me, and we don't have a meeting until the third week of this month.
Alrighty. Next up, board comments. We will start with trustee Chambliss.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you guys so much for coming out tonight, or if you're streaming it from home. Congrats to our football and varsity volleyball teams for having a great season. The senior nights were last week. Thank you to Ms. Perry for allowing myself, Trustee Beaver, and President Holder to be part of it. This was a rough season for so many, a lot of changes, a lot of letdowns, but the students raised their chins and kept walking like the champions they are. They did amazing. And actually, tonight, about 30 minutes before this meeting started, the Lady Eagles varsity volleyball team won district, so we are going to the next level. We have one of our captains right there, and one of the coaches. Okay, second, thank you to the PTO and ECC and MES for putting on an amazing trunk or treat this week, as well as their very successful Little Caesars fundraisers. One child, who I won't name, at ECC raised over $1,400 himself. It's insane. Thank you to Ms. Perry and Mr. Whitman for all the amazing new experiences the kids are having this year. At the high school, the seniors got to go to the apple orchard this year for their senior trip, like not their official senior trip, but a senior trip. And I swear my daughter turned into like a 3-year-old. She was so excited. Spirit Week was so cool, and Ms. Perry flawlessly ran the pep rally and homecoming with your amazing team of staff. Thank you to Ms. Halchowski for the 24/7 support you are giving our seniors as they explore the college and post-high school options. To end this, I have a few quotes for the students I know are watching. Bullying has been a huge issue for the students at all levels in this district, and staff is trying to control it and do what they can. But I'm in every building, and I deal with a lot of these kids, and quite frequently I'm finding out things that are happening to them behind closed doors that they're too scared to talk about. So, I just wanted to say, lately a lot of negativity is going around. The kids see it, and I'm texted, and I get talked to with the schools, and reached out and seeked out by the students that I actively support. Here are some quotes you guys need to remember. Let them judge you, let them misunderstand you, let them gossip about you. Their opinions aren't your problem. You stay kind, committed to love, and free in your authenticity. No matter what they say or do, don't you dare doubt your worth or the beauty of your truth. Just keep on shining like you do. Because when someone judges you, it isn't actually about you. It's about them and their own insecurities, limitations, and needs. People who are intimidated by you talk bad about you with hopes that others don't find you as appealing as you are. I've learned in life that there are people who excel at tearing others down, and rather than building them up, they tend to focus on your mistakes and flaws rather than your achievements and talents. At the end of the day, their negative attitude is their problem, not yours. Never let a miserable person steal your joy and break your spirit. Simply choose to shine so bright that your haters need shades. And then I was asked how I keep going. And this is how you just need to remember who you are. I'm not going to change who I am. So I've fed mouths that have talked about me poorly. I've wiped tears from the same people who caused mine. I've picked up people who have tried to knock me down. I've done favors for people who could do nothing for me. I have been there for people who have left me. Am I crazy? Maybe. But I will not lose myself in the hatred of others. I continue to be me because I am who I am. Life ain't easy, but even so, through all the hate and vile negativity, I'll still be here with my heart in the right place. So to all the girls I talked to at the high school, and the boys at middle school, and the children at MES, you guys keep saying, I don't want to do this. Just remember, it doesn't say anything about you. It's absolutely 100% about the person saying it. Good night.
Next up, Trustee Beaver.
I don't have anything this evening.
Thank you. Trustee Holcomb.
I want to say thanks for coming out tonight and at home listening. And I brought in a piece of aluminum here. This is what I want to do our motivational sayings on. I want some painted purple, some painted red, and they'll etch their motivational sayings on here, and this is what we'll mount on the walls. So, what my plans is if we can get this organized. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Next up, Trustee Thompson.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. It was a good meeting. We got a lot accomplished. Other than that, go green.
She's saying that to me. Trustee, go ahead.
I just wanted to thank everybody for coming out, and watching this evening. Welcome to all the new employees. And don't forget, get out there tomorrow and vote for that bond. Thanks.
A couple of things. I too want to remind everybody we need everybody's help for this bond. And we have a lot of signs missing. It's actually illegal for anybody to remove a sign. If you see them, call the police. It's a nice ticket. And all you have to do is take a picture. We all have cameras, or call 911. They are, each one I believe is almost $100 each. So whether they're kids whose parents would need to be responsible, or they're adults. That all helps. There's absolutely no reason for anybody to be removing the signs. Not for any candidate, not for the schools. They were all protected under the law. The only other thing I guess I want to say is, no, I'm going to leave it for another day. With that, I need a motion to close, please. And support?
I'll support.
Mr. Thompson, roll call vote, please.
Crystal Beaver,
Yes.
Rebecca Chambliss,
Yes.
Mark Holcomb,
Yes.
Cindy Holder,
Yes.
Deborah Ott,
Yes.
Gloria Thompson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
That, good night.